Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Track. I'm Jim Quinn. My special guest tonight is the Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard, and we are at the New Jersey Motorsports Park, where we encourage you, if you're looking for one of the best meals in this area, come on out to the New Jersey Motorsports Park. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at around 4 o'clock. The food is fantastic, and the prices are reasonable, right, Mike?
Yes, it is. Yep,
Yeah,
very,
really-
very so much so.
And you see how beautiful that place is. That's the pub part, where you have the bar, and then over to your left, you have a big, well, there you see it there, the big room where people come, and they have Chamber of Commerce meetings there and things like that. They just do a very nice job. Well, Mike, I don't know if you've noticed, on the way in today, I noticed again, they have the exotic car garages.
Yes, correct.
Each time there's another new group. It's already
Right.
going around to the circle and it's heading down the track. And I keep talking about when I was the mayor, I got a lot of flack about giving them like an abatement. Well, everybody usually, to get the business, you give them an abatement. Vineland does, and how you're going to be competitive. And we did. And of course, the critics are the critics. But what's wonderful is they, of course, went through the abatement. Now they're into regular taxation, 100%. But what's really great with these exotic car garages is they are 100% rateables. They're $380,000 each, and there's got to be 60 at least. So multiply that by 380,000, you see what kind of a rateable you've got here in the city of Millville. And it also had no kids in school, no police problems, and they're really self-sufficient. So I mean, Millville's lucky there. But I got to thank you, Mike. I told everybody over the years how much I really like Commercial Township. I spent a lot of time in Laurel Lake as a young person, and Morristown. Wow, what a beautiful town it is. And of course, I had my cable television system, which this guy knows about. He was a 14-year-old kid then, and we brought cable TV to Commercial Township, Morris River, down Lawrence, Fairfield, Deerfield Townships. But what I really liked, in fact, our headquarters were in Haleyville, not far probably from where you live.
That's right. Yes, you're in the
And we had the headquarters there. It was called Clover Cable. And then I loved Port Norris. One of my best friends, who was one of his best teachers, Dick Smith, right?
That's right.
And Dick was the mayor. Dick was the mayor when I brought the cable company here. And another good friend of mine, Bob Moore, was one on the township committee at the time as well. And Bob lives in Morristown.
Yes.
But I mean, you look at this, it's like, wow. And they got the river, they got the bay, and then Mike tells me, we got this Lake Audrey. I said, what are you talking about? All my life, I never knew Lake Audrey was there.
Right, yeah.
But thank you for telling me. My good friend Joe Pepitone, I said, Joe, do you know where Lake Audrey is? I said, Mike Vizzard keeps telling me about it, but I've never seen it. He said, sure. So he took me around. Very impressive. Really
It
is.
It's a nice lake. It really is, yeah. I plan on taking my grandsons over there.
Oh, that's
fishing.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, they even had a boat dock
Yeah.
as well. And it's pretty good size, I
It
guess.
is.
Right?
Yeah, it's a nice
We
lake.
rode around it and all that stuff. So I'll tell you, the township is blessed with wonderful, assets like those, the natural resources. And in my opinion, they're blessed to have this guy who's done a great job in the last 9 years.
Yes.
Mike, what would you say some of the highlights of your 9 years serving here on the Township Committee?
Well, right off the bat, right off the top of my head, is the Veterans Memorial Park that we put together about, I'm guessing it was 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We put that together. That was one of the best things I think we did as a group in Commercial Township. Not just the committee, but there was so many volunteers, so many people that came out, to lend a hand with it, to help put that together. It's a very good park. Yeah, it's a very nice park. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I think we did in a long time, is that.
I was a freeholder at that time, and I got invited, obviously, and I was very impressed. And the speakers were excellent. Everything, like you said, the volunteers, there were several, at least 100 people, if not more, out there to see, again, another great asset, another thing that's wonderful to have here in Commercial Township. Of course, you also have the State Police Barracks in Commercial Township as well.
Right.
You have a senior center, and the ballpark that was behind my Clover Cable building.
Yes.
They still use that.
That is still used, yes.
Okay.
There's actually a new walking path that we just finished there behind all the ball fields.
Oh, okay.
It's approximately a mile-long walking path. We have plans in the future to extending that, maybe go across the street. My ultimate goal is to ask the state if we can put a walking path around Lake Aldrey and tie it into our walking path.
Well, that would be nice, yeah.
Whether that happens or not, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm going to ask.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I'm
Right.
so impressed with Lake Audrey. I can't believe my entire life. Like I say, I've had a lot of friends in Commercial Township because they went to high school with me. Dick Smith and Joe D'Agostino and all these people. And I used to go to Jelly Beans, and they had restaurants and activity. Is the supermarket still open?
Yeah, Newcomb's Market is still there.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great as well. And, like I say, think about Commercial Township. You got the Morris River, and then Mayor George Garrison, when I was the mayor of Millville, he was mayor of Commercial Township, and he abutted his property, abutted the Morris River. And then, of course, my goodness, the Delaware Bay down in Port Norris, that area as well. And then, as we talked about, Laurel Lake and Lake Audrey. I mean, I don't know if anybody has 4 things like that going
Right.
for them. I mean, if you move up, down Township's got the bay, which is beautiful. The Morris River doesn't go through there as well. And the same with Lawrence. I guess Lawrence has part of being on the bay as well, but and Fairfield Township. And anyway, talking about Fairfield Township, this guy, in my opinion, is one of the best elected officials Commercial Township has ever had. But you know what is his best thing? Don't let him think being a township committeeman's what makes him great. Our producer's going to show you what makes him great, right? You'll see what makes him really great. He's got a beautiful daughter named Kelsey. And there she is dancing with Dad. And this
How
was
about
just
that?
recent. And you can see how happy Dad is and how good Dad looks. Of course, Kelsey's a beautiful young lady. You had a wonderful time at the wedding, I'm
We
told.
did, yes, it was great, yeah, very good time. Got a little cold, we had a little problem with
Yeah,
heat.
that's what Chuck did tell me.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
And there's her husband, Jake
Yeah.
Weibel, Chuck Weibel's son, and Chuck's the one who gave me these pictures. And Chuck was saying, and that is a beautiful, the manor. It's called
It
the
is,
manor.
yeah, Eagle Manor.
Eagle
yes,
Manor.
mhm.
Been over there. Boy, it's right on the water.
It is, yeah, it's a very nice place,
And
yeah.
Chuck said it sleeps 10 people.
It
or
does,
10
well,
bedrooms.
10
rather, so 20
bedrooms,
people
yeah,
possibly.
10 bedrooms and I think 11 bathrooms.
Wow, that's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, it's got plenty of room.
Yeah, and that's right on the water.
It
as
is,
well, right?
yes,
And
mhm.
yeah. So, anyway, that's his number one thing that we all
That's
know
right,
about
yes.
Kelsey's dad. Do you have other children?
I do. I have another daughter, Michelle. She's married as well. I have two grandsons, and from her and a granddaughter, 4-month-old granddaughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Congratulations.
Devin. So yeah, now we just gotta get Kelsey on board. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Kelsey, where does Kelsey live?
She lives just outside of Atlanta,
Okay.
Georgia. She lives in a town called Smyrna.
There's one in Delaware, too.
There's a Smyrna in Delaware. Yeah, she works for the county, which is Cobb County there. I don't remember her exact title, but I'm just going to tell you it's something to do with environmental engineering.
Oh, okay.
But that's what she does for Cobb County.
And I was-
Mainly traffic stuff.
I was surprised that Chuck Weibel's son, Jake, is a fantastic drummer.
Oh, he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of traveling. The
Yeah.
band that he's with. He goes all over the world. I mean,
Wow,
not
that's
just
something.
not just the United States, but he's been to Europe. I mean, I can't even tell you how many places.
Yeah, I was surprised. Chuck and I went to the Phillies game recently, and you were talking about the wedding and talking about, what his son does. And he did mention your daughter worked for the county down there as well. So getting back to Commercial Township, obviously the dedication of Veterans Park was one thing that I'm sure you're very proud of. You were mayor when that occurred too, right?
Yes, I think it was mayor at that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember some of the speakers that you had as well that came, and people, state representatives were there, and I think even the congressman was there. It was a very nice park and dedication. A lot of people in Commercial Township, I'm sure, served in the military.
Correct, yes.
It was a nice tribute to them as well. Anyway, we're talking with Mike Vizzard, who's the deputy mayor of Commercial Township. We'll be back to talk more with Mike about the township right after these messages.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing, and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub Restaurant and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit njmp.com to learn more and book your experience today.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
He was there in the temple with Zechariah. He delivered God's message to Mary. He announced the news to the shepherds. He protected the boy Jesus. He saw the water turn to wine. He led the angels to minister to Jesus in the garden. He stands in the presence of God. His name is Gabriel, and he is the witness.
Welcome back to Inside Track. Jim Quinn along with Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard. And Mike, there's a lot of things going on, I understand, in Commercial Township. You were talking during the commercial break about the Morristown Park. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we where the old Morristown Bridge
Right, yeah.
was located. We've turned that into a park where we can, the residents can go fishing, or out of town people can go fishing there. And what's happening is the bulkhead that holds that park together against the river is damaged. It just corroded, and it's washing out. So the parking lot itself is sinking. So we're trying to get funds together to repair that park. I mean, the residents of Morristown, I know, they miss going to that park, and we have part of it blocked off, and I really want to push to get this fixed. So we're having trouble getting the funding together for that. So that's one of the major things that I want to try to get done is to find the funding, or put the funding together to get that park fixed, so it gets back to where it used to be. And if not better, the rails need to be replaced. So but we're looking at close to anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million to redrive the bulkhead wall and fix that park. So it's not an easy feat to get done, but we're pushing to get it done.
Do you think you'll be able to get some state grants?
Well, we haven't really been able to find anything.
Okay.
We've been a year now searching grants, trying to get some grant funding, but it's not coming together too easy.
Yeah, well, funding's always tight, that's
Right.
for sure. And one of the things that, who does your trash collection?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. It's a new guy.
Pineland.
And I don't think it's Pinelands. I think it's a new company now that.
Because a friend of mine works for Frank Edguardi. Is the
Okay.
guy he's on the Township Council in Sea Isle. I know he has Vinelands, but I didn't know who had Commercial Township.
Yeah, it's a new contract. It's a new company we just started with this year.
Okay.
I know we had Pinelands at one time, and we did have Gold Medal Enterprises at one time, but this is a new one, and then I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, and what about bulk waste? That somebody has a couch they want to get rid of? What do you-
Yeah,
how's that?
we have bulk pickup once a month, or we're not pickup, but they can bring stuff to our landfill,
Oh,
the old
okay.
landfill location,
I see.
once a month, and that's usually a pretty busy Saturday.
I'll bet you,
There's a lot
yeah.
of people that do take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And sometime this summer I would like to have a couple more actually bulk pickup days, maybe perhaps put a dumpster somewhere out in the different municipalities where they can, you know, put their stuff or dump their trash or whatever, and we can pick it up and take it to the landfill at the end of the weekend or whatever, the next day, Monday. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to put something like that together. The only problem is, in the past, we've tried to do that, and, you know, everything magically catches fire, you know, so.
Oh, geez,
yeah,
yeah.
so we got to be careful with that,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that.
For sure. So, township budget-wise, I guess trying to keep the taxes stable is
Yes.
important, but as you're talking about, and I mean, I know as a young person, and of course, even as an adult, the Morristown Bridge was such a neat bridge. You could hear the, you know, wood underneath of you,
Correct.
and all that kind of
Right,
stuff,
right.
and had to make sure you slowed down and drove careful across that. But I was in charge of the county road department from as a freeholder from 1985, or no, I'm sorry, 1983 till probably 89, and I became director. But it was interesting. I tell this story that Jim Pirelli, who's Carol Pirelli's former past husband, who passed away, wonderful man, he was very motivated in getting the bypass open. So if you come over the Morristown Bridge now, the big one, as you go straight, come to the four-way stop, and you used to not be able to go straight ahead.
Correct, right.
It's just woods there. What was tough is everybody would make a left there, and they go into the town of Morristown, which is a beautiful town. My goodness, it's just super. But these big trucks were having difficulty maneuvering, and Jim's house, I think, was right on the corner.
Right.
So anyway, he was a big proponent, and we finally, the county cooperated. We put in the bypass, and I often say, as a kid, I always wanted to ride on the fire truck, and I got to ride on the Morristown fire truck with Jim and many other officials as we, I think probably Smith too, maybe, as we were able to get that road open, and it's a blessing. As talking about Morristown bypass road, as you come towards the end of that road, you've got a big venture going on there now with the state police.
Yes, so there's a new state police barracks being built, state of the art. You know, the one that they had there that they've rented from the township forever. I couldn't even tell you the first year they rented it, but they've outgrown it. You know, the new standards for women police officers, and you know, just having enough room for the officers to work and stuff like that. So they've outgrown that facility, needed a new facility. So we were lucky enough that they worked with us and honored some of our requests, or all of our requests basically. Built a new barracks there, and we're still going to collect the funding necessary to, you know, offset taxpayers' dollars from that facility.
Oh, that's
so yeah, I mean, it worked out great. They're getting their new facility, and we're getting, you know, what we need to keep operating.
Now, did the state fund that building?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, there was some going back and forth with it, you know, but yeah, basically, yeah, that's where it comes down to.
That's good. Speaking of the state, we, in this county, we're very fortunate, in my opinion. We have 6 very good legislators on the west side of the county. Got my buddy John Bersacelli, he's a state senator. Dave Bailey, who is a phenomenal guy. His dad was the most popular minister, I think, in South Jersey. He passed away about a year or 2 ago. And Heather Simmons is the other assembly person. And of course, on this side, Mike's side, my side, living in Millville and all, we have Senator Mike Testa, who I really like a lot, Antoine McClellan from Ocean City, and I'm trying to think.
Eric
Simonson.
Simonson, that's
Eric
it, yes.
Simonson from Lower Township.
Lower Township.
Yeah, he's an educator down there, so that's where we get the representation that, you know, hopefully we need. And of course, it's interesting too, as far as this area, you know, having Mike Testa, he's just such a good guy, and it's been very, very good, and I appreciate him coming and taking time to come on TV with us. And Mike, what got you interested 9 years ago in running for Township Committee?
Well, I'm going to say that it was, I started getting involved in going to the meetings, and there was a lot of rumors going around about certain things going on at that time. So I wanted the township to be better than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got me interested in taking the place of some people on that committee, and me wanting to make a difference for the people of the township, not wanting to do it for personal reasons like some of the people on there was doing it for their own,
right.
you know, but I wanted to do it for the people of the township, you know. And I mean, I've already been in business. I don't,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, I don't need to do it, but I wanted to do it
Yeah.
to try to make it better for everybody else. You know, that's just what I wanted.
That's the
you know.
right reason for
Right.
going into it. And
Yeah.
fortunately, for those that don't know, Mike is electrical contractor, and it's GM White.
GM White, yes.
Electrical contracting, and his people done some work for me. They're very well qualified. Let's talk a little bit about you. Did you went to Millville High, right?
I did, yes.
So when you graduated, is that when you got into the electrical? Or?
I did, yeah. Actually, I started working for Snell Electric in Vineland when I was still in high school.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I was 16 years old when I started working for them in the shop. I wasn't an electrician or anything, but I learned a lot about materials. You know, I learned,
Yeah.
you know, what materials were from working in the shop, delivering to the job sites and stuff. And then I've always been the one to work with my hands and tinker with motors, so I ended up fixing their vehicles for them.
Oh, that's cool.
So I would work on weekends, and they're fixing, changing oils, and you know, oh, there's all kinds of stupid things I could tell you. But I know they had an old bucket truck that the hydraulic PTO pump went bad. You know, not the pump itself, but the takeoff, the power takeoff on the transfer case. So I put a 3/4 inch drill to it and a generator and hooked it all up. Ran the bucket truck with a drill. You know?
Well, I really envy you because I can't do anything, you know.
But that's that kind of stuff that I did for them.
But, you know, that's neat. When I taught school, I remember saying to the kids, you know, at that time in the mid-'60s, late '60s, when I first started teaching, there was a lot of emphasis, and not a bad idea, that a lot of the kids' parents wanted to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of them liked auto mechanics, and they liked plumbing, and they liked those things. And I said to them, these were 7th graders, I said, do what you love. That's what's important.
That's it.
And you've done that,
Mhm.
you know, and then you've taken it to the next level where you have owned your own business for quite a long time as
Yes,
well.
since 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, 24 years. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
We're talking with Mike Vizzard, who's the Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, about some of the wonderful things that are going on here in the township. We'll be back with Mike right after these messages.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing, and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub Restaurant, and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit NJMP.com to learn more and book your experience today.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community. Local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing, and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub Restaurant, and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit NJMP.com to learn more and book your experience today.
At Mintz Insurance.
gotten over the last years.
Welcome back to Inside Track. My special guest tonight is the Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard, and we're talking about all the wonderful things in Commercial Township. And Mike was telling me about Forest Lake Community Center. Mike, I didn't know that existed. Tell me about it.
It's called Forest Lakes Family Success Center, and Inspira was funding that for the last 11 years, I believe it has. And it's been very good for the residents of the township, and for residents outside the townships too. I mean, they have I think it's the second Wednesday of the month. They give out food.
That's nice.
They have a food drive or whatever, and they help the residents with needs that they would have as far as wanting a GED or younger moms not understanding with kids or how to take care of kids, or GED credentials, just anything that, even drugs, you get caught up in drugs, they'll help you with that, alcoholism, just a lot of the things that people need. That's, somebody to show them or help them, So
That's in Laurel Lake?
That's in Laurel Lake, yeah, the old Jehovah's Witness building, that's off of the Spring Garden Road.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
The township remodeled that building, put a lot of work into. It used to be a church, so they had a slanted floor. The township went through the expense of flattening the floor out and turning it into, a building that they could use. So that was the township's donation to that.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Really nice.
It's a good program for the residents.
Yeah.
And then of course we have every third or fourth Saturday of the month. Russell Storms has a food pantry, the Commercial Township food pantry, and him and his wife takes care of handing out. I'm usually there always on Thanksgiving handing out turkeys.
That's great. Yeah.
So yeah, we have a good food drive there for that too. Yeah.
Was it Russell Township Committee?
He was, yes, a long time ago. He was a committeeman, yes.
Good guy, I remember way back. And speaking of good people, Hannah Nichols passed away
yes,
recently, but
yep.
she was like Miss Commercial Township.
She was the face of Commercial Township.
She really was for all
yeah.
those years.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful lady. Johnny Nick was her husband.
John Nichols, Johnny Nick. Yep.
Johnny Nick. It was something, just an E printing. J&E printing, was it? I guess it was.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah, because when we had our softball teams, he sponsored a team. A lot of guys from Fort Norris and things
Right.
like that were there and coming up to the league when I had an independent softball league in Vineland. They were really good. And I used to get all my printing done by John as well.
Right.
Again, there's just so many good things that Commercial Township offers folks, and Mike's dedicated his last 9 years of his life to it. And as he talked about, it was for the right reasons, just to try to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love doing, and I know you do too, Mike. That's one of the things that makes you know it's worthwhile being there. You're not doing it for the money because it doesn't pay much,
Right.
but you're there because you care about the township and care about helping people. So that's got to be gratifying.
It is. It's very gratifying, and I've learned so much about how municipality works. It's not as easy as everybody tends to think it is. And when somebody comes to a township meeting complaining to me and everything, I kind of just keep running that through my head. They don't totally understand, so I got to make them understand. That's the first thing I do. Now that doesn't mean I don't lose control. Sometimes I do, and I admit that, and I've been trying to keep myself calm. But I say all that just to say that I had a hard time with all of this too. I mean, there's like being in business. We were just talking about this today. Being in business, there's a difference between a bond that I got to provide and a bond that the municipality provides. When somebody says to me, "You're going to go bond this project," I'm thinking the township's got to buy a bond.
I see.
I have to buy a
Right.
bond,
Yeah.
when I do a project. And it's not. It doesn't mean that at all. It's totally different, But it took me a while to understand that concept, which is what I was getting at with the Morristown Park repairs. We can sell notes, provide a bond,
Yeah.
and get the money together to fix that park.
Yeah.
Now, last year, did I know that? No. I'm thinking we have to go buy a bond to do that.
Yeah, gotcha.
So yeah, I'm still learning too. There's always something to learn, no
I
matter what.
spent 35 years in government. I'm sure I was still was learning.
Yeah.
And who's your administrator now?
Well, our CFO is Pam Humphreys,
Okay.
and then the township clerk is Heather Sparks.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with, yeah. She just got married, so I wasn't sure
Okay,
really, yeah.
gotcha.
But, yeah, so I just wanted to go with that. Okay.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, filling.
Her married name is Heather Miller, so
Okay,
it's
well, that's
Clint's wife, so, but I
That's
wasn't,
good.
I've always called her Heather Sparks, but that's, her really married name is Heather Miller.
One of the things too, that I know, do you have any miles of roads Township has about?
Oh, yeah, I did know that. I looked it up at one time. I think it's 358 square miles, if I remember right, something like
Okay.
that is what I believe it is.
Right. And it's, big township. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going from the Laurel Lake Bridge all the way down to Shell Pile and Port Norris and on the bay. And
Mhm.
of course, here, the Morristown is the, on the east side, obviously, of the township, and then the west side is the other side of Port Norris.
Right.
You got Haleyville, Morristown, Laurel Lake, Port Norris, and what else am I forgetting?
Well, there's a little development called Peak of the Moon, and then
Okay,
there's,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
and then there's another one by Valve.
That's right, yes, I remember Blytheville as
Mhm.
well. And I spent a lot of my high school years down here because Dick Smith and the guys that went to school with me, Milt Beecham, in fact, was a good friend of mine, who just passed away recently. And we just had a great time in Port Norris then. And even now, I mean, you don't have as many businesses, but you got some beautiful homes that people have restored, and, it's a great place to live. And you know what you don't read about in Port Norris? Crime.
There's not a whole lot of crime, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. There's not a whole lot, but there is some. There is some, just recently, I've heard reports of somebody going around busting into people's cars,
Yeah.
but that could be kids
Yeah.
running around doing
Yeah,
that.
well,
you know.
of course, everywhere there's the drug
Yeah,
problem.
right,
Some of them are probably trying to get the money to take care of their drug problem and stuff. But of course, again, the funny thing is there is no news media,
Right,
really. So,
right.
I mean, where are you going to find out? Actually, Facebook is where you find
Facebook,
out.
that's
because
it, yes.
That's the place. This is interesting, Mike. I don't know if you've had this happen, but the mayor of Millville, the woman that won and was elected mayor, one of the things she was telling me, she ended up quitting, that was so difficult, and I didn't think about, was Facebook.
Mhm.
How people can rip you on Facebook.
That's right.
I mean, being former mayor and freeholder, and, especially as the mayor, they would get up and make all kinds of accusations and complaints, and a lot of it, like you said, they didn't understand, this is the process we have to go through.
Sure,
In
right.
that
Mhm.
type of situation. But it is interesting, there's no Daily Journal anymore, no British
Right.
Evening News, no Atlantic City Press. I guess maybe, maybe there are, I shouldn't say that, but I don't know if anybody that really gets it. I was reading at the Daily Journal online, I gotta redo that, in fact, but that's one of the few places I could find out
Mhm.
news. Do you go to Facebook, or you?
I don't have Facebook, no, I'm not on Facebook.
I didn't think you were,
No,
because I couldn't read all the bad news about you on Facebook.
Yeah, I did have it, in all honesty, when my daughter was in college and she went to, studied abroad in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So I had it for 3 months so I could contact her, and,
Okay,
But then
gotcha.
as soon as she stepped foot back in the United States, that's it, I was off Facebook,
That's-
But I still get people that take the snippets of Facebook, and send it to me. So, yeah, I see all the bad stuff.
But again, there's some good things on there as well,
Mhm.
so it balances out. In fact, I have many people that I block that are negative people. I don't like being around negative
Mhm.
people. I'm an upbeat, positive person like is too. We look at the glass half full, and and like you talked about, you love helping people.
Mhm.
I do too, and that's the reason you're there, to try to make the township better and to help people wherever you possibly can. And I know you talk about the road system in the township and the drainage. Is that becoming a problem?
Yes, there's, we've done a lot of road work. We've gotten over the years a lot of complaints with the dump trucks, with the sand plants coming
Yeah,
through.
right.
So we started trying to improve that by having the roads redone. The state had this program, the Local Freight Impact Fund grants, where they know the trucks destroy the roads, and they're willing to give municipalities the grants to improve their
Oh,
roads.
that's good.
a lot of it was the old houses, you know, like High Street or I'm sorry, Main Street in Port Norris. Yeah. That used to be bumpy. The bridges were bumpy. The road itself was bumpy, and the old houses was getting shaken by the trucks going down. So we did what we could to do as much road work along the waterfront, along the Main Street, High Street in Port Norris. The county kicked in a lot of stuff because a lot of that's county roads.
Yeah, exactly.
So the county helped us with that along with the grants. And just a little fact here: since 2019. The township has done $9.7 million, almost $10 million worth of road work.
Wow.
While I've been there.
That's fantastic.
A portion, the non-reimbursable portions from the township, their cost was $160,000 over the 9 years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we've
10%.
We've gotten a lot of work done, you know, for a relatively cheap amount over the last 9 years.
That's
you know,
super.
so,
Yeah.
And that, to answer your question too, with the drainage, the state has recently, well, I shouldn't say recently, a year ago, changed us to what they're calling a Tier A municipality, which has happened to a lot of municipalities, not just commercial. But what that does is that causes the municipality to have to do a lot of different stringent rules as far as keeping drains clean, you know, having to clean them out, keeping the roads clean, having to buy a truck that's going to go along and clean up the roads and clean out the drains. And I mean, we have drains that just go into the river. You know, we don't have a processing plant. We don't have you know, a place where it's treated or whatever. So it gets very expensive. We have to send crews out with a vacuum truck and vacuum out the lines, and you know, vacuum out the pipes, vacuum out the manholes, the retainage, all that stuff. So it's very costly. And then just to go on top of that, we have our leaf pickup and our brush pickup, which used to be we would just pick it all up, take it over to the landfill. Somebody would come in, grind it up, leave it in a pile. When it's gone, it's gone. You know. But now, of course, all those standards have changed. We're not allowed to leave it sit any longer. We can still grind it up, but it can't sit. We have to pick it up after 6 months, take it to a facility. Have them treat it, you know, and I mean, the last quotes we got last year to have all that done was $50,000 to have a company come in, grind it all up, pick it up, put it on the trucks, truck it out, you know. So that's all costs that are being thrown at the township now that were never there before. So we're trying to come up with our own plan to be able to do this, buy the equipment somehow, to be able to do our own grinding, be able to, you know, try to save taxpayers as much money as we can, because we don't want to stop doing any of these things that we do for the township, you know. But we also can't keep doing it, you know, because it's just depleting the funds in the township. So with all that being said, we're trying to come up with ways that we don't have to stop doing it. We don't have to stop doing what we do for the residents. We can just do it ourselves, and we're still working on it, you know. It's a never-ending process.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I'm thinking back when I was the mayor of Millville, and we had our own trash pickup. We had a man that did it, you know, and that type thing. And then somewhere along the line, we outsourced it. And one of the things that I didn't think about, and our solicitor said, the good thing about outsourcing the trash pickup was you don't get the injury, the back injury from your employee, and then our workman's comp and all that stuff, because that is a tough job. Now, they didn't have the system then like they have now, where they have the trash cans, they come up, they can grab it, and then mechanically it dumps the trash, you know, in the back. So at least the fellas aren't, or women, or whoever working there, aren't doing as much lifting as they did 30 years ago, I guess, when we were doing that as well. So, but and there are the things that, you know, like you say, with the township, I mean, you guys got a lot of money, and then they had to put out $160,000.
Correct,
You
right.
got like 7 to 8 times that amount.
Oh yeah, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have gotten a third done of what we got done. Yeah,
that's super.
Yeah, I mean, our trash pickup, like you were just saying, we do source that out too. We put it out for bid, and this cycle right now, it's $1.3 million a year.
Is it
you know,
really?
is to have the trash picked up.
But you got to have it.
You got to have
It's
it.
one
Yeah.
of those things that have to have. Do you have a separate, like, No, I guess you wouldn't. You don't have a separate trash tax that goes to the people. It's
No.
all included in the
Right.
one tax bill. In Millville, we've got, 3 different tax things: water, sewer, and health department. Of course, you get the health department too from the county, I guess, and the local taxes as well. So at least commercial township people just pay, for the regular
Correct.
taxes
Right.
that you have for all the things you do. How many employees does commercial township have?
Let's see, there's 5 in the Public Works, and then the office has probably 6, if I'm counting correctly, 6 to 8. So I'm going to say 13, 14 employees.
Right. And it's a big township, as we talked about, so there's a lot of communities, a lot of things that have to be done. I wanted to talk a little bit about school, and as I said, of course, you went to Port Nard School, and Haleyville, was that in existence when you were going to school?
It was, yeah, that's where I started.
Yeah.
I went when I started kindergarten at Haleyville School, and then 3rd grade. So 4th grade, I went 4th through 8th. It was at Port Nard School. Yes.
Yeah. Now, what's going on with the Port Nard School? It's closed, obviously.
It is closed, yes.
Haleyville's serving the whole township.
Yeah, it was sold.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yes.
good.
And I believe that the company that bought it is looking to turn it. It's going to be either an over 55 facility
Oh, that's good.
or a senior facility. Now, I know that sounds the same, but there's 2 different ones. One is not taxable, won't be rateable for the township, and the other one is. So
Oh,
I'm
so
not,
it's the other
yeah,
one.
yeah, I'm not sure which one that this guy is doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, well, and the 55.
That's the talk. That's the talk of it
Yeah,
right now.
well, 55 and over, 55 to 62, you're not really a senior citizen, but I know
Right.
they have 55 and over facilities, which makes sense. I understand what they're saying. But if it's going with a senior facility, then you'd have to be, I imagine, at least 62, because that's what
Right,
you're doing,
right.
Social Security, and, go.
So maybe the 55 and over is a rateable.
Yeah,
that could be.
right. Yeah, that's a good point. And Millville's fortunate; they've got the 55 and over facility right on Buckshootum Road. And a friend of mine just moved in, he and his wife, and they really enjoy it. There's a clubhouse and all that stuff that's there as well. And it's housing, like we talked about. I mean, I love Morristown. I just think it is such a quaint, unique town. It's so cool. And Port Nars, with those really nice homes, and Haleyville, they're sort of the same type situation that you see. A lot of those facilities, a lot of the homes are very, very nice. They were probably built 100 years ago or whatever, but
If not more.
Yeah, especially Morristown, more. But it's so nice. It's such a quaint community, and a lot of nice people that I know live in the township itself as well. So that's been a really good thing. And as I say, I was very pleased to be able to, along with my former partner, Joe O'Donnell, who passed away, to be able to bring the people of Commercial Township cable television. That was, people thought we were crazy back in 1980 when we brought that. Mike, did I tell you what the interest rate was? We borrowed $1 million. Guess what the interest rate was? 1980. You were a little
1980.
boy.
Yeah, I was a little
You
boy.
were like 12 or 10 or something. Yeah, see,
I don't know. I'm going to guess 3%.
18.
Oh, was it 18?
18%
Okay,
on $1 million.
I thought it'd be a lot lower. Oh,
No.
oh, on $1 million.
No, it didn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, I could have borrowed
I got
1,000
you.
and still would have
Okay.
been 18%.
I got
That's
you.
where
Okay.
it was like unbelievable back in, I don't know why, in the early 80s, it was
I
really,
understand.
really high. But fortunately, it worked out. We were able to construct the cable television system. And Comcast now owns it. Of course, fortunately for us, we used to have a TV studio at our building. The first floor was the office, Clover Cable office. Then upstairs we had the TV studio. We did the auction time show live from there. And at that time, Millville, Vineland. Millville was separate. Our township, Clover, was separate. And I think Vineland and Bridget were separate. So I ran 4 different locations where we did the auction time show. One from here, one from Millville, one from Vineland, one from Bridgeton. And there were 4 of us, 3 others besides myself that did that show. Do you remember that as a kid?
I remember the facility. I don't remember the show.
Yeah. Anyway, what the show was, we were actually, if I really had the money, I'd have gone on the satellite. We were on the air doing selling of merchandise before QVC and Home Shopping Network went on. And it was a good way to make money, and people loved it. We had pickup locations that would come in and pick their stuff up. And it was, this is a funny story. sometimes I guess you get carried away with your position or whatever. In my situation, this happened. It was cute. I run into a young fella, I don't know, he's maybe like 18, 19, and he points to me. Now, at this point in time, I am freeholder director of Cumberland County. And he points to me and goes, "Hey, I know you." I said, "God," I'm thinking, yeah, he knows I'm freeholder director of Cumberland County. He says, "You're the auction time guy." I said, "Yes, I am." And even to this day, some people talk about that. And it was fun. It was a really fun thing to do. And met a lot of great people. It was really a lot of times. And then what we decided to do was to go from the auction time show to selling for other people. And there was a place called Positive Furniture and Appliance over on Landis Avenue near Rainbow Lake. They were my first on location selling stuff for them. Al Falciani was the guy's name. After we did the show, he called me and goes, "Oh my God, Jim, that was the best advertising I've ever done." So we would, once a month we would go there. And then we started doing the car shows. And one of my buddies that was at Novick, he said to me, "Jim, it was not unusual for us to sell 20 to 25 cars a weekend when we were on TV. But you know what? Now, Mike, everything's online. It doesn't matter.
Right.
People just, hey Siri, I'm looking for like a 2015 F-150 Ford pickup, and they show them to you. So that hasn't worked. But you're busy, right, with your electrical contract?
I personally am always busy, business-wise. It's not very busy right now, but yeah, I mean, if I'm not doing work, I'm bidding work, and if I'm not bidding work, I'm trying to tell somebody else what they got to do with it, and
Well,
fighting with insurance companies and fighting with bonding companies, and
well, that's part of the headaches
Yeah,
of
that's
being
all
in
part of
business.
it. Mhm.
You could, do those things, and I know what you mean. And being in business isn't easy, that's for sure. Like I said, I mean, just now it's very difficult to get advertisers. Where years ago with those shows, it was a lot easier. And radio stations are really struggling. They're really having troubles now too, because people can go online. Everything is online. And, we're glad it's online too, because up until we started doing, our type of sharing of the programming on Facebook and YouTube, we never knew how many people watched. In fact, Millville High School football, I think last year or the year before, Ryan Borowski, who's my producer, was telling me we had hundreds of thousands of viewers. Well, they played like 12, 13 games, so maybe 20,000 a game. But what's neat too, like with YouTube, people from Florida, California, that used to go to Millville, they can watch the games, and then you can see the number of people that watch the program, as well as this show.
Right.
And whatever we do, this show is on Channel 22, so if you have Comcast, you can watch it on Comcast. And it's also on YouTube, the Quinn Broadcasting YouTube channel, and the Quinn Broadcasting Facebook channel. So even though Mike doesn't have Facebook, you got to have Google, right?
I do have Google.
Okay, so I'm sure you still have Channel 22, right? Comcast.
I do.
Yeah, that's good. We appreciate that. That's why you're my favorite. Now I know. We'll be back with the Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard, right after these messages.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
We're all looking for God. All the signs point to, there is really a God. We try to find Him in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, and through all kinds of things. But there's only one way to find Him. That's by personal experience with Him. Come visit us this Sunday. We can introduce you to Him. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing, and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub restaurant, and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit njmp.com to learn more and book your experience today.
Welcome back to the Finish Line Pub. Jim Quinn along with the Deputy Mayor, Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard. And Mike, you were telling me during the break that there's a program called BRIC. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's that's a FEMA program to help municipalities to increase their infrastructure against floods and fires. You know, the BRIC stands for Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities. So it was funded, as I said, through FEMA, but now with all the cuts that's come through the federal government, now FEMA pulled all the BRIC funding and put a stop to the entire program. Now, what that means for us is over the, I want to say 2 years, the last 2 years I've been highly involved in that, along with, I got to say, 20 other people from Commercial Township. We would go to these meetings, you know, and we've all been working towards trying to come up with projects and ways of adhering to all the requirements that FEMA makes you adhere to. And we were just ready to go out, you know, within the next 2 months. We were going to go out for bid on some projects in along the riverfront, you know, building some barrier walls along the riverfront to make Port Norris more resilient, you know, with the flooding, which then increases or decreases the floodplain area that the state comes up with, you know, as far as you know, buildings that can't be built, you know, in the floodplain and stuff like that. What that does now is takes all that away. There's no chance that we could have people in the waterfront area get flood insurance. You know, they would have to build their houses up on stilts. You know, which is what they call a Code Plus, which we are trying to get that going. But if we were able to get the floodplain area decreased through BRIC, you know, so many people wouldn't have to do that requirement, and it would get more people involved to coming down, not just homeowners, but businesses. More businesses could come down and not have to worry about, you know, their buildings flooding out or whatever, you know. And I think it's just a bad thing for the township all around that the federal government did away with that program.
That's a shame.
There's so many properties down there now that we can't utilize, which already Commercial Township is already, I think it's 58% of the property of Commercial Township is non-taxable or non-rateable, right? Properties, because either state or federal government owns them. So, or they're not buildable, you know. So this was a way of at least gaining some more ratables, you know, for the township, along with naturally stopping people from losing so much property and maybe even your life, you know. Depends on how bad the storms are.
Yeah,
you know. So that's a real downer for me anyway, donating, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people who have donated so much time into putting something together to just have it ripped out from underneath you like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm really sorry to hear that. I have a question for you. I go up and down Solar Run, with Buckshot, I guess, right up here. Anyway, one of my best friends, Joe Pepitone, and he had a house he just sold in Commercial Township in Laurel Lake. And let me tell you something, this man is a good man. At 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, a couple years ago, I'm at Joe Pepitone's Woods House, he called that, in Laurel Lake. He has one in Millville side as well, but he has the Woods House in Laurel Lake and Commercial Township. And I don't know what happened, but it left the lights on the vehicle. The vehicle wouldn't start. He says, Jim, what are we going to do? It's 10 o'clock Saturday night. I said, I'm calling the mayor. I call this guy, 10 minutes, he's over, jumps the vehicle for us, and won't take anything, and says, nope, thanks, and thank you, Mike, I appreciate that. That's what type of person you're dealing with here, folks. And anything I've ever asked Mike for help, he's there. And, you know, and he's Kelsey's dad. I mean, it doesn't get any. In fact, I guess I have to tell you about that. Amanda Miller said, tell Mike congratulations on Kelsey's wedding.
Oh,
So
thank you, Amanda. Thank you.
That had to be an exciting time, I'm sure, for you and everybody there. So it's a good thing to be able to do. So this is your 9th year. So as things are going and things like this, what do you hope to accomplish next year? Are there other things that are going to be coming up? The state police, are they pretty well done?
They should be done. They should be done in 4 months. I think that
Okay.
building will be done.
Gotcha.
My biggest thing now is we've come up with ways of cleaning up or trying to clean up properties, you know, especially through Laurel Lake. But there's some older properties in Port Norris that are falling down that need to be.
Right.
So we've learned about some programs that the township can do as far as, you know, taking over these properties and cleaning them up. You know, we got to be careful. I mean, you got to be, you know, we got to be careful just not going into a property and taking over a property and saying we're going to clean this place up, because it's just not legal. But any legal means that we can do that, we're going to do that. And my goal is to try to get some of these old dilapidated properties cleaned up. I mean, I feel for anybody that lives next door to a piece of property that's like
true.
that, you know.
That's a
And
good point.
9 times out of 10, well, our hands are tied. You know, we're not allowed to do certain things until other certain things are done for us, you know, and then we can go. I mean, it's just so many different things. The court systems right now are not very good for us to be able to do that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. No, I understand that.
But that is turning around. The court systems are turning around. They are going. They're not back to where they were, but they're heading back with that direction.
Speaking of courts, do you have your own?
We used to. We're now part of Upper Deerfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know the judge up there. She's a friend of mine.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. She's a friend of Kelsey's.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. In fact, yeah, I actually had a situation where something happened for one of my relatives in Upper Deerfield. So because this guy was related to me, they had to ship it out to Pittsburgh Township or something because, you know, the conflict. But Lauren Van Emden and her dad, Phil, do a great job with the Lee Boy. You and Marie ever go up to the Lee Boy?
We have, yeah.
Isn't that
It was the, I can't think of the name of the group, but they did the St. Patrick's Day dance, you know, how they do all the Irish dancing. I
that's
can't
right.
remember the name of the group, but that's the last one we went to.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility, folks. If you haven't been there, and they have a lot of great shows. They really do. And Phil and Lauren Van Emden have given their time and effort to that program and just have done a fantastic job. In fact, I felt good when I was the mayor of Millville. The amazing Kreskin came in, and he was going to do his show, which he did there. And he said at that time, he said he's traveled the world, and the Levoy is one of the nicest facilities of that size that he's seen, which made me feel good. Mike, this guy is amazing. They took his check, and he said, hide the check anywhere you want in this building. So they actually took the check, gave it to a lady. She put it inside of a Goober's candy box. This son of a gun found it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I was like, you know, I don't know, but he did. He kept, it's like, wow, he's got some special talent, that's for darn sure. But, you know, it's, you know, there was some of the, you know, I got to meet there. Well, 2 people, actually. I got to be in a show with Martin Short. I was the straight guy, and he was Jiminy Cricket or whatever he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a fun time. And then I got to meet Sinbad. What a great guy. I ended up having dinner with Sinbad at the Queen Diner, and his son was there, and a couple other people from his family. What a nice man. And he does good comedy. It's clean comedy. Does a lot on ADD, ADHD, which I think I have, and a lot of people have, you know. And he just really neat. So, I mean, there's some of the special people that they brought in. They have some great bands that they bring in, you know, different, you know, like you said, the Irish thing. They're doing a lot with the kids, too. In fact, Mike Testa and I were there one long time ago. My grandson was involved in one of the plays, and his grandson, or his son was, I'm sorry, his son and my grandson were doing stuff, and I saw him and his wife and his mom and dad and everybody there. So, you know, it's got a lot going for it. It truly does. But, you know, as I say, Mike, I'm so impressed with what you've done the last 9 years in Commercial Township. And I really love this township. I truly do. And, oh, you know something was interesting, where the house where you came to jump us that Saturday night, Joe ended up selling it to a fellow who's really putting lots and lots into it. And the house not far down sold for $250,000.
Right,
So, I
right.
mean, you know, you're bringing the values in
Yes,
more like that.
correct.
But again, like you say, you got to make sure there's not blighted properties
That's
next
it.
door to it.
Right.
So, you know, but there are a lot of people out there that do flipping that would, you know, love to get that property if they can and, you know, put monies into it
Sure.
and hopefully sell it and make good money out of it. Anyway, Michael, thank you for all the times. Mike comes and is on the show here at the Motorsports Park because he's close by, and then, you know, another guy that I think the world of, Skip Bowman.
Yeah, Skip is a great guy. Yes, he
I
is.
hope he's getting better. I know he's
He
having a
went,
little bit of
in
problems.
case you don't know, he went back into the hospital.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he
Oh,
did.
I'm sorry to hear
So
that.
I don't know if he's back out yet or
Yeah,
not.
I saw his son the other night, but Skip comes as well, because he's township over from here, and the Millville people come, and, you know, it's nice. I want to thank Brad Scott and everybody at the New Jersey Motorsports Park, where I'm telling you what, you come, I know it's not, you know, the normal thing, but come and have dinner here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, starting at 4 o'clock. Or you can have lunch on Saturday and Sunday if you want to. Great food and reasonable prices, folks. There aren't a lot of big restaurants where you can go have a big dinner in the city of Millville. This one you can. Soup, salad, entrees, desserts, whatever you want, and your favorite beverage as well. It's all here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park. My guest has been the Deputy Mayor of Commercial Township, Mike Vizzard. Mike, thanks so
Thank you
much
very
for
much,
coming
Tim.
in, buddy.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Kelsey and Jake on their
Yes,
wedding. Now you got a son-in-law.
That's
another
right.
son-in-law.
I got two son-in-laws
Two
now.
son-in-laws now. Anyway, thank you, Ryan Narowski, for producing the show today, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.